The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment by Thaddeus Golas. Chapter 8. Going Through Changes. If nothing is holding us down to the physical plane, then what is holding us? Why are we attached to structures? Why do we stick to our vibrational level? Why do we fear change? To answer these questions, let's start at the top once again. There are a lot of words for how it feels to be completely expanded. Total awareness, completeness, freedom, love, ecstasy, certainty, stability, supreme intelligence and compassion. I think it will be least vague in this instance to discuss our interactions in terms of stability. Absolute stability exists naturally at the space level because all relationships are persistent to the degree that the beings involved have the same expansion. But on the more contracted levels, where there is by definition some withdrawal of awareness, we accordingly have less control over how long the stable condition lasts. And when we are relating to beings whose vibrational levels are higher or lower than ours, we feel unstable and uncertain. In an unstable relationship, we have basically two ways to go. Regardless of the subtleties of the changes, and one way is towards stability, reaching a common level of vibration, and the other way is towards disintegration, getting so far apart in vibrations that we are no longer aware of each other at all. Since we are uncomfortable in the presence of vibrations higher or lower than our own, we tend to make certain natural responses. If the other person's lower, we will generally try to get him or her up to our level to help them and cheer them up. But if the other person's higher, we will often at first try to bring them down, get them to lower their level of vibration to our lower level. Note that when you try to help someone, you are working against his natural, perhaps unconscious effort to bring you down. The lower vibrating person, and this could be any of us depending on the circumstance, will appear to be draining the energy of the higher person, even if they have the best moral and social motive. This effort can take the form of exaggerated praise, slight pokes disguised in polite words, pleading for help with problems, showing fear and depression, freaking out, starting an argument, quoting better authorities, and 1,000 other forms, all the way down to putting the higher person in prison or killing them. On the other hand, if you are faced with such behavior, the remedy is to keep an outflowing of love, to have no resistance in your mind. The lower vibrating person may reach farther and farther to bring you down, but when he finds you will not come down, when he senses that you've no internal resistance to him, he will have to raise to your vibration level to feel stable and comfortable, because it is too painful to stay where he is. And he will rise, unless of course he goes the other way and disintegrates from the relationship. You, at the higher vibration, are not obliged to wait him out. If you sense that he's not going to do anything but to try to bring you down, you are free to begin the disintegration when you choose. In current language, just split. Do not dwell on it. Do not feel guilty about it. It is in the natural order of things. If you are going to take psychedelics or you're going to meditate and open yourself to communication with beings on higher levels, you should be aware of the implications of these automatic interactions between vibration levels. You are likely to feel overwhelmed, driven, compelled, degraded, full of psychic terror until you drop your resistance, expand in love, and move up to the vibration of the higher being. They have no intention to scare you or test you. It is your own density that is making you have these feelings. Anything that really frightens you may contain a clue to enlightenment. It may indicate to you how deeply you're attached to structure, whether that be mental, physical, or social. Attachment and resistance are appearances with the same root. When you resist by pulling away your awareness, the emotion is fear, and the contraction is experienced as a pull like magnetism or gravity, and that is the attachment. This is why we often fear to open our minds to more exalted spiritual beings. We believe that fear is a signal to withdraw, when in fact it is a sign that we are already withdrawing too much. Here are some lines that have made me feel good in times of emotional turmoil and in times of meditation. I am nothing. I am empty. I am silent. I have no resistance to the vibrations of other beings. I have no resistance to the expansions and contractions of other beings. When we are afraid to see what is higher, we may then try to bury a feeling of safety or power by keeping our attention on what is lower. This process takes many forms in human life. Charity, conceived as an impulse towards lower than ourselves, often has unhappy results. Many of our impulsive feelings have their source in erroneous assumptions about the status of other people. There's nothing wrong with these feelings. The feelings on the space level are incredibly rich. However, it is wise to pay attention to where our feelings are coming from and where they are leading us. We may be seduced by a feeling of freedom, a feeling of power, a feeling of amusement by relating to those that we feel are weaker than us, or we may recoil from the fear and depression we feel in the presence of those we consider stronger than us. The principle of equality is a safe guide, both in saving us from foolish condescension to disturbed people and from self-limiting awe towards superior people. The solution to all our push and pull tensions is to treat everyone, every being you recognize to be alive, as being equal to yourself. Always look deeper than any evidence that you are unequal. If another person displays great wisdom or genius, produces great paintings, or even inflates himself to writing books of advice like this one, just do not believe that it is any evidence that his potential is higher than yours. Know that anything he's done you can do, not in the sense of debasing him, but of elevating yourself. Do not admire him excessively, because that separates you. Let him be what he is. Love him as your brother. Enjoy what he produces. Treat him as an equal. And whatever you see on a psychedelic trip, just say to yourself, I am equal to that. We are all equal to that. On the other side, if a person displays sickness and insanity, degradation, emotional distress, helplessness and despair, in the same manner, do not believe that it is any evidence that this person has lower potential than yours. Know that anything you're doing, he can do. Do not blindly agree with his game. Do not react as though what he's doing is real. Let him be what he is. Love him as your brother. Have compassion for him. Treat him as your equal. Begin with the knowledge that he can bring himself out of it. Do not ignore him necessarily unless you know that he's been running the same movie over and over again and you're bored with it. Your attention is life-giving. It will make him feel stable and loved, and he can go from there if he wants to. You can even say in words that you do not believe his game. However, do that while you are bandaging his wounds, or feeding him, or giving him money. Do not act superior to him. You are not. You are his equal. Ignore the sin and love the sinner. It's not a personal affront to you when someone is being discordant. It is a measure of his pain. He is showing you how much he hurts and how much compassion he needs. But keep in mind too that not all victims are innocent. In a certain karmic sense, no victims are innocent, but that does not mean we shouldn't help them, because it is our fate to exist in relation to them, and how we behave determines our own karma. We should give help in a way that does not extend our attachment to low vibrations. That means give what we expect to get, good or bad, in the same circumstance, and begin with the knowledge that all beings are equal. While we still believe there are people who are greater or lesser than ourselves, we will tend to hang on all the more tightly to our current vibrational level. We will be fastened to the people who make us feel at home. We'll be stuck with our ideas, our emotional habits, our jobs, our bodies. We will be afraid to change because we will fear the unstable experiences that we have to try to reach when we are trying to go to a higher level. We will be afraid of falling to a lower level if we let go of our current stability. Once you begin to behave in the knowledge that no being is greater or lesser than you, then you will be free to change, because you will feel stable no matter what level you're on. You will feel calm, and you will be sure of yourself with or without a body, with or without a job, a brain, a book to read, or even a book to write. Withdrawing awareness from the expansion of others and keeping attention on the contractions of others fastens us to the world of matter. It is reassuring to know that this process, which Golas incarnated in bodies in the first place, is also happening in our daily lives, and it can be reversed very easily starting now. It is a nice truth. The way that will relieve your woes on the physical plane will also take you to the highest spiritual realization. And the way is always simple: no resistance.